Mara stepped onto the nearly empty platform in Venice, the summer air thick with the scent of salt and possibility. She was late. Her train to Verona was leaving in minutes, and the ticket agent had warned it was the last one tonight. She sprinted, suitcase bumping against her legs, hair flying. "Wait," she yelled, breathless, as the train doors began to close. A hand shot out from inside and pushed them open again. A man, tall, lean, with eyes like stormy skies, met her gaze and held it for a second too long. "You made it," he said with a half smile, stepping aside. She collapsed into a seat across the aisle from him, heart pounding, not from the sprint, but from the way he had looked at her. Like he already knew her. As the train pulled away from the lights of Venice, Mara looked out the window, trying to forget the man across from her. But it was impossible. He had returned to his book, but kept glancing at her, subtly. "You almost missed it," he said after a few minutes. "I did miss it," she replied. "You saved me." "Then I suppose you owe me something?" She arched a brow. "Such as?" "A drink in Verona," he said, and held out his hand. "Lucian, Mara," she said, "and maybe I do." They talked for the next hour: books, travel, favorite cities, the things they'd each run from and toward. The train swayed gently, night deepening outside. At one point, Mara caught him watching her mouth as she spoke. When the lights flickered briefly, she found herself leaning toward him, her voice quieter now. "You're trouble, aren't you?" He smiled, slow and confident. "Not always, but I am tonight." When the train stopped just outside Verona stalled due to a delay, Lucian leaned close. "Come with me." "To where?" He nodded to the next car, empty. "To wait out the delay. Or to change the night entirely." She hesitated for the briefest breath, then rose and followed him. The door clicked shut behind them. The train car was silent, dimly lit by the moon through the windows. They stood facing each other, energy pulsing between them. He touched her jaw, featherlight. "Tell me to stop." She didn't. He kissed her slowly at first, tasting her like something rare. Then deeper, his hand at the base of her neck, pulling her close. Her fingers slid into his hair, anchoring her to something that felt like a storm and a home all at once. When he pressed her gently against the wall of the train, her breath caught. His hands moved over her like he had a map written in Braille, reading her wants before she could even whisper them. She guided him too, fingers under his shirt, across the warm muscles of his back. Every movement was a question, and every moan a yes. She had never done something like this, never in public, never so impulsively. And yet, with Lucian, it felt less like recklessness and more like surrendering to something inevitable. Afterward, they sat side by side, the window fogged near where her shoulder rested. The train still hadn't moved. He laced his fingers through hers. "So what happens now?" she asked softly. "I walk you to your hotel," he said. "Then maybe I write about this for the rest of my life." She laughed, surprised by how real that sounded. "You're a writer?" "No," he said. "But I might become one just to remember tonight the way it deserves." When the train finally rolled into Verona, it was nearly 2 a.m. The city was quiet, ancient stones glowing under street lamps. He did walk her to her hotel. Outside her door, she turned and looked at him, unsure. Lucian kissed her one last time, this one slower than the others, as if trying to stretch it across time. "Good night, Mara. Goodbye," she whispered. She never saw him again. But years later, on a flight to Lisbon, Mara opened a novel she'd bought in the airport. The author's name stopped her cold.